Salut! If you're visiting France, you might want to be able to drive to be able to go wherever you want. For longer trips, I recommend taking the train since they're more reliable and comfortable, but sometimes having a car is a necessity, especially to explore more rural areas. Now, many tourists rent cars here, but at first they might get confused and face new problems. Where can you rent a car? Which papers do you need to drive in France? Do we drive on the left-hand lane? I'm Géraldine. Bienvenue sur Comme une Française TV. Sound French, even to the French. Let's dive in. Louer une voiture means to rent a car. Louer une voiture. It's the easiest way for a foreigner to drive in France. There are some famous chains with open shops all across the country, such as Hertz, Sixt or Avis, for instance. In recent years, though, several new online services have been created trying to be the Airbnb of car rentals in France, such as Wecar or Drivey. They tend to be cheaper and sometimes more helpful, but you might need to invest a little bit more time choosing a car and communicating with the person lending you their vehicles. You must be at least 18 to legally drive in France and have un permis de conduire, a driving license. You can use yours if you're from any EU country. If you're not from an EU country but you're staying in France for less than 90 days, your driving license will work, but officially you will also need to have a certified translation. Something you might be able to sort out in your own country before you arrive or at your embassy once you're here, or better still, get an international driving permit. The price for driving insurance, which protects against hurting other people, third-party liability, is usually included in the rental price. Your own travel insurance coverage will depend on your personal situation, so check it out before leaving. If you're here to stay for a year or longer, you'll have to face other hassles to be able to fully use your driving license. Also, you might want to buy a car, either acheter une voiture neuve, to buy a brand new car, or une voiture d'occasion, a used car. Which brings us to la voiture, the car, of course. The French auto industry is led by a few brands: Peugeot and its Lion, Renault and its diamond shape, and Citroën with les chevrons, the rafters. The French tend to not drive big SUVs but smaller cars instead. You will find le volant, the wheel, le moteur, the engine, and of course le levier de vitesse, the gear stick. Most French cars have manual transmission. Even though la voiture à boîte de vitesse automatique, car with automatic transmission, are getting a bit more popular these last few years. They're also called une voiture automatique, an automatic car, but that will be confusing once self-driving cars arrive. We'll have to think about that. French cars run on l'essence, gasoline or petrol, and sometimes on le diesel. Some others are des voitures électriques, electric cars, and hopefully they will be much more common in the years to come. La station service is the fuel station. They might not be as common in France as in other countries, so you might want to be careful about this when you drive. Here you can fill your car with du samplon, SP95, unleaded gasoline, or éthanol, E85, or diesel. Check which fuel goes in your car when you rent it or bring it here, or it will damage your engine if you get it wrong. It happens. There are different ways to pay for your fuel as well. Most time it will be à la pompe, at the pump directly with your credit card, but you might need to go to a pay station or even inside a building nearby to talk to the cashier. Le code de la route is the set of driving laws about traffic. First, inside a car, wearing la ceinture de sécurité. or la ceinture de sécurité, the seat belt which is required for the driver and all passengers. Any handheld mobile phone usage such as calling or texting is illegal and it's very dangerous. Driving after drinking is also a very bad idea. The highest legal blood alcohol level is roughly the equivalent of a small glass of wine. Now, once you are on the road, you will need to watch out for un panneau de signalisation. Un panneau de signalisation, the road signs, to adjust your driving accordingly. In France, we drive on the right-hand lane, in opposition to countries who use the wrong lane. The speed limits are all expressed in kilometers per hour, just like the speedometer inside a car. Be careful or you will be photographed by un radar automatique. Un radar automatique, a machine on the side of the road that will take a picture of your car driving too fast, which will send it to you along with a fine. The speed limit depends on the road you're driving on, which brings us to les routes. Les routes are the roads you drive on. There are many different kinds of roads in France with their own set of rules. Inside towns and cities, you can't drive faster than 50 kilometers per hour, while some areas will have a special limit of 30 kilometers per hour. This is called une zone 30, une zone 30, and it covers around a third of all streets in Paris, for example. Speaking of Paris, the capital is circled by a special road called le boulevard périphérique. Le boulevard périphérique, or more commonly le périph', or le périphérique, le périph' or le périphérique. It's the Parisian ring road. It has some kind of cultural significance as it separates Paris from its suburbs. Parisian people are sometimes accused of not caring about any part of the country beyond le périphérique, for instance. Also, that circle isn't very fun to drive on since it's very often jammed by people commuting, but it's still faster than the smaller city streets. Anyway, the official speed limit on the ring road is 70 kilometers per hour, but don't be surprised to see people driving way faster than this though. Most roads in the country are une nationale, a road that keeps its name as it spans across the country. Or une départementale, a smaller road with only a local level importance. On these roads, you can't drive faster than 90 kilometers per hour. You might find un rond-point, a roundabout, since we kind of love them here, especially in the western part of France. All these speed limits can change on a local basis according to their situation or special circumstances, such as des travaux, roadworks, or un carrefour, a crossroad, un accident, an accident, but weather will also lower the legal speed by 10 or 20 kilometers per hour. Finally, French highways are called une autoroute. Une autoroute. Here you can drive as long as you want without any intersection, with an usual speed limit of 130 kilometers per hour. Don't forget to stop and rest at une aire d'autoroute, a service area for every 2 hours of driving. If you're driving while tired and you get into a small accident, you can call for help from one of these orange phone boxes that you can see somewhere on this screen, or with the mobile app SOS Autoroute. But I hope you won't have to. Now, an important tip to close this episode. To drive on some highways, you might need to go through un péage, a toll. To enter the driveway, you might pay upfront or take a ticket first and pay when you leave the road later. It depends. When it's time to pay, you will see different lanes with different signs on top of each. Do not choose the lane with only a T. It's an orange T. If you don't have a special badge, you will be stuck. Instead, choose the green arrow and you will be able to pay with your cash or credit card. The CB sign means that you can only pay with credit card. Be very careful if you only have an American credit card. They might not work at an automatic toll booth. Check if yours work before you have to enter a lane and have a long line of other vehicles just behind you. Driving back will be very painful. Et toi, do you have any personal stories about driving in France? Or how would you advise a foreigner to drive in your own country? Tell me in French if you dare in the comments section. I love to hear from you and it's excellent practice every week. If you're on YouTube, you will find a link below this video to the blog communefrancaise.com. On the site, I read all the comments and answer all your questions as well. Want more, like an exclusive lesson on how you can make the difference between entrée and rentrée and the French riddle about Sophie's dog? Subscribe now to join my everyday French crash course. It's a 10-day mini course to sound French even to the French. It's super easy to join. Leave me your first name and your email and you will receive lesson 1 immediately. Best of all, it's free. Merci for watching Comme une Française TV. Sound French even to the French. Allez, salut!